Today's the day that you have been waiting for. We've got our hands on Farming Simulator 23, and we're going to show you guys some gameplay, maps, equipment, and how things work in Farm Sim 23 when compared to Farm Sim 22 or maybe the previous mobile game, Farm Sim 20. Just like the desktop version, we are presented with a very similar screen of career, achievements, credits, and language. All settings are in the game itself, so let's jump right in and let's start a new game. Of course, we have two maps to choose from. We have Amberstone, which is based on the United States, and then we have Newburn, which is more European in style. Once you found the map you want to go, just click on it and it will immediately start going into the game. Once you guys are in, it's going to show you this, asking you if you want to start a short guided tour. Now, I am playing a pre-release build, so unfortunately, parts of this do not work for me. So I'm just going to select no. They do say if you'd like to start a guided tour again, start a new career, and you'll be asked again. Okay, so we start here. We've got a couple different tractors, and everything looks very similar to Farming Simulator 22. It is important to note that also I'm on the Nintendo Switch, and the game I believe is locked around 30 FPS, somewhere around there. This is a mobile game. This is not a desktop game. Because it's a mobile game, it also means I don't have access to all of my fancy buttons, like taking away the HUD or flying or cheating in money. So this should be fun. If we want to see a small version of our map, we can boom it in from the left, but to get a better overview, we can check it out right here. And this is our map. What do we have when we start up? Well, we have fields 1, 2, and 3 with a pretty busy area around the main farm. We've got our silo. We got some fill spots, even a sell point right there. We do have production chains all over the place, so we can go through, we can see what is what. So you've got your growth calendar, or growth rather, your soil composition. You will need to get rid of weeds, and you will need to fertilize and plow. As far as I've been able to find, there's no way to turn any of those off or on or anything. We've also got our production chains, so bakery, carpentry, cereal mill, dairy, grain mill, grape processing, oil mill, spinnery, sugar mill, tailor shop. Oh my goodness, that's a lot. As far as animals go, we have our chickens, our cattle, horse barn, pigsty, and our sheep barn. Large. Those are already on the map, and as far as I can tell, we're not able to place any extra ones down. Then we have our buying and selling points, so bell cell, biogas, things like that. All kinds of stuff that you would expect to find in the desktop version of Farming Simulator, but it's here. You've got it all right here. Let's see what we get, at least with, well, I would say new farmer mode, but there is no other way to start. We've got a Massey Ferguson 3670 here. Two of those, in fact, one for carting, one for seeding. We've got a John Deere 4755 for cultivating, and we have our Deutz-Fahr top liner. But if we jump into the store, we can see a bunch of other things as well. For example, our small tractors. We've also got medium, large, all that good stuff. I will be doing a showcase video of everything, so stay tuned for that. If we back out of there and we jump in our Deutz-Fahr right here, we've got a couple options. So one option is to remove the header, I believe. So let's back this up and we will hit remove header. What's going to do is it's going to drop that header with the header trailer attached. So you guys don't have to worry about anything, and then just back up, pull forward, or just simply select. We've also got A, which is hire worker, Y, which is jump out. Automatic engine start is turned on for this, and we can of course turn it on ourselves, just like so. So the combine will unfold, it will turn it on, and now I've got complete control. I can also hire a worker, which is exactly what I would do. Other equipment's pretty much the same too. Of course, here we've got a way where we can change up our seed down there at the bottom left-hand corner. We can, of course, detach this if we want to. Just like in Farming Simulator 20, the weight at the front will automatically appear once you guys connect. So if I disconnect this for whatever reason, of course, that front weight disappears, and when I reconnect, that front weight reappears. So you don't have to buy weights, it will just automatically apply them, which is very nice, and you're not going to need to be in a position where you would need one but don't get one, which is good. Again, here, same thing. We can turn on the seeder, which drops it down and turns it on at the same time, or we can hire a worker. Cultivator's a little bit different, as it just lowers it down. There is no turning it on. And of course, we've got our worker here too. One of the bits I like the most is the house. You can walk right up to it and go to sleep. You can select what time you want, and it'll fast forward into the next day. Autosave is always on, at least as far as I can tell here too. So whenever you go into the main menu or something like that, you've got that. One heads up, when you go into the main menu, the game does pause itself. So that just heads up there. We've got weather, prices, vehicles, finance, productions, statistics, settings, help, and hints. I do like the help and hints. It works really well, especially with someone who's not familiar with the mobile games. So let's check out weather first. This gives us an idea of what to expect every day. Now, of course, you can see down there, we're calling for rain and snow every single month, but you don't have to worry too much about that. We're on one day months. So every day in the game is a month. Backing out, going down into prices now. This should be very familiar to you guys as well. We can see everything, including price fluctuations, which are going to be very important. Prices do fluctuate very heavily, and one of the great things is we get a full setup of price fluctuations at the start, which is very good. Of course, we do have some new crops being added to Farming Simulator 23. We have sorghum, grapes, and olives. And as far as I can tell, those are all pre-placed. There are plenty of places on the map where you guys can do those if you want to. But we have a bunch of other stuff here, including our production chains. That'll tell you when you want to sell each one. And all the way down, we even have places for liquid fertilizer, solid fertilizer, liquid fertilizer. You can buy them at your main farm, but there is also a fertilizer silo where you could buy those. It's a little bit easier to manage that way. You may have also noticed here, slurry and digestate. So you cannot actually buy manure nor slurry, but you can buy digestate for $32 a 1,000 liters. Pretty cool. If you want to get an overview of everything that you've got, you could go here. You can direct sell things if you guys would want to. We do have a very easy way to do that. However, I've found that it is a little bit more beneficial to sell these things at the store, which you can easily just reset these. Finances, of course, this is all the normal stuff that we've been able to see in Farm Sim 22, 19, 17, every game before then. Animals, we do start off with a couple animals. We've got a couple chickens and a rooster. If you guys would like to get rid of these, you could do that via the animal area. It says that they're selling for $1, but when you go in, it is showing that they're $0. So I wouldn't worry too much about these. If you have any productions, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to want to use, in the production chain menu, we've got that. We can also pop over to statistics and get an idea of what to expect here. In game settings, this is probably going to be the one place where you guys want to start off with. We have a lot of different time scales. So real time, which is 1x, 2, 5, 10, 30, 45, and real. No 60 or anything like that, but this is plenty. Colorblind mode, you can turn that on if you need to. Game tips, this is something that I have found works really well to turn that on. Interactive zone markers, also keeping that on. Info trigger, shows information, things like that. You may want that. And then traffic, you can turn this on and off. I recommend keeping it on because there's some Easter eggs with the traffic. And because this is a mobile game, we do have accelerometer steering. I have that turned off for now because I'm using a Switch controller, but if you want to turn that on and use a steering wheel or something like that, you can do that. Horizon tilt, we have that on and off. Camera sensitivity, steering back speed, and steering sensitivity. These are the bits that I found that work the best for me. You can increase camera sensitivity all the way up. I think it's 300, and steering I think is like 200 or 250, something like that. But it's just a little bit fast, especially with a Switch controller. So you guys can choose what you want to go through there. There's also some settings that may look familiar, and one that you may be like, hey, I want that in Farm Sim 22, gimme! Well, we got reset vehicle camera, camera collision adjustment, dynamic vehicle camera, and invert Y look. So this is one I think a lot of people swap up. Can if you want to. Reset vehicle camera. This is simply just, are you wanting your vehicle camera to reset every time you get in and out of it? I hate that, so I turn it off. Camera collision adjustment. Vehicle outdoor camera will automatically zoom in when detecting an interfering object. So this was a feature not included in Farming Simulator 22. We did have it in modded 17 and 19, but nothing there. And then we have our units. So dollar miles, Fahrenheit, acres. You can change those up to the things that you're looking for. And then we have all of our information with AI workers, which I highly recommend keeping these turned on because you're going to be going back and forth a lot to rebuy fuel, seeds, fertilizer, things like that. We also have slurry and digestate, or slurry and manure, sorry. You could choose where you want that to come from, which is really nice. And lastly, we got our sounds, so music, vehicle, environment, and GUI. So GUI, I've normally turn that off, but I got it turned down for now. Music volume, always have that turned off just in case for copyright stuff in videos, and vehicle and environment. These are the same settings I use in Farming Simulator 22. Figured they work great here too. Last little bit's going to be things like help and what's the other one? Hints. Help and hints. So it teaches you how to do things starting off, which is very, very cool. We can see icon overviews. We've got our animals, productions, yield bonuses, things like that. Really cool setup through there. And then lastly, hints. You can start a save game at any time and play the tour. All right. So now that you guys have kind of got a basic overview of the game and the basic parts of it, let's jump into the European map and take a look at it. Also, a heads up, at least for right now, you cannot go on Newbern and do a guided tour. That is only on the American map Amberstone, which totally fine. We're not too worried about that. This is going to look a lot like Felsbrunn. At least some of the placeables, things like that. Even the house is the same. I love it. What they've done is they've used a lot of the same assets, things like that. Really, really helpful, especially when you're trying to find your way around. Familiarity always works well. What do we got here? Ooh, Fizzy Spizz Extreme. Yeah, let's go, baby. So here is our PDA. We've got a bunch of productions all over the place. Our farm is very similarly laid out. However, unlike the American map Amberstone, these fields don't overlap any. So in Amberstone, for example, we had two fields that were right across from each other, long way, so when you hired a worker, sometimes they would run into each other. Well, here, you don't have to worry about that, and you've got basically everything ready to go. Another thing here that may be good for you is the shop is right across the road from the main farm. So if you need that, that's pretty easy. Otherwise, you can see everything, big square fields. I mean, this is a mobile game, so it is meant to be as easy to navigate as possible. We got roads that lead everywhere. Really difficult to get lost around here. Couple things that you may want to know about, and I'll go over these in my tips and tricks videos, but as far as your fields go, you can't sell the ones you've got, at least not yet. You maybe can in a future patch, but not likely. But you can go through here, find the fields that you want. You see the pricing for them. Pricing, I think, is a little bit high, but it shouldn't be too bad. It shouldn't take you too long to get a hold of the things that you need. Poking around just to see what we get in here. We have the exact same carting setup. We have the exact same seeding setup, same plowing setup, or cultivating rather, and the same harvesting setup. So you've got all the same goodies through there, ready to go. We've even got, I think, the same chickens as well. Let's come over here. Yeah, the exact same chickens. Two regular ones and a rooster. So as far as controlling your equipment, so if you're going to be using touch, things are going to be much different, but with the Nintendo Switch, we got controllers, so we'll talk more about that later. We do have plenty of control when you're in a vehicle. You can use your camera. We've also got zoom in and zoom out. We can zoom out pretty darn far, which is pretty nice. Of course, we have our steering, go and reverse, and we have interior views. As far as I could tell, it doesn't look like we've got any gear shifts that change up, anything like that, and no pedals. But again, I will reiterate, this is a mobile version, so some things have had to be omitted from the desktop version to even work on these smaller bits. So as you can see, we do have a couple things that have popped up. Let's see if I can make another thing pop up here. So all I had to do was back up to that. I actually didn't do anything. Let's head over to our silo. We'll show you guys. This will tell us what we need to do. Farm silos, store and load grain here. Normally, if I had any grain in here, I would just pull over this grating and it would unload automatically. We can come around here, right there, and we'll get a trigger to check out what's going on. So we can see wheat, barley, oats, canola, sorghum, sunflower, soybeans, and corn. That is everything that we can store in our main silo. Everything else will have to be either placed aside or stored separately. And we jump out there, and oh, Wrong map. There are a couple buttons that are a little bit different with the Nintendo Switch than they are on the desktop, so I'm currently getting used to all of those. So we've got our sleep, etc., etc. You do also have things like this. You can refuel your vehicles at this gas station, so we have fuel at the main farm. Coming around here, you can buy seeds, herbicide, and fertilizer. It is a little bit more expensive at this one, so heads up there. And let's see, doesn't look like we're able to open any doors or anything like that. Still, absolutely epic, very, very cool. And I'm super excited for this to be the next Farming Simulator mobile game. We've got this, I think it's 3 weeks early, so I'm going to be doing a ton of videos between now and its release. So sit back and relax. We've got a lot for you.